Alright. Episode 1 thus far seems to be fairly unpopular, but we're going to continue on. We're going to upload episode 2 and we're watching episode 3. Hello again, Kitty.
I think the internet in general has created a sense of disconnection.
Between what and what?
A lot of people don't understand that there is actually another person on the other side of that screen. If that...
A lot of boomers don't understand that. I would say the vast majority of everyone 30 years old and younger has a very good grasp on that fact.
Yeah.
It's just people like you who have that problem.
Reality is completely imagined and it starts seeping into your real world, then you sort of lose your grasp on your humanity.
Humanity?
The internet is dehumanizing.
So we become Dio by just accepting the internet.
Is this the claim that this episode is going to make? That the internet is dehumanizing, and that's why all these people felt safe messaging Onion-san is because they didn't think he was real. They thought he was some kind of text bot.
What?
What do you want to do about it?
What do you mean?
I don't have money to raise a baby.
But I do like tomorrow.
It's not born yet, is it?
Yeah, but I don't want to be an orphan.
Catch.
What?
If you look...
What was that supposed to demonstrate?
Is this somehow related to the ongoing investigation?
I just think it was supposed to make him look bad.
That was standard 2010s YouTube comedy.
Yeah, but...
It also flies in the face of Shiloh's entire testimony in part 2 and part 1 about how he would constantly be the one shooting her and he would always kill her and she was always the stupid woman. Here we have him being the stupid woman who she shoots.
Literally simulating someone, you know.
A dead baby joke?
No.
Dead baby jokes were again the
That's not
height
just
of
a-
comedy
This
back
is a
then.
spousal abuse joke.
Spousal abuse. Portion.
It resonates with the boomers more.
That's the only thing I can think, because I'm just like, as someone who's been around the internet, that's just the comedy back then. Comedy back then comes off kind of creepy, at best. Hi, Shane Dawson. But just playing that full clip out of nowhere like it means something.
Also, this is the first time they've played a full clip. And they didn't really, even lead into the concept of this clip. They're just like, it's an ongoing investigation.
But baby.
Here's something that happened 8 years before this, the call started.
I think, to put it simple, they were just trying to make the audience feel a bit uncomfortable.
But why?
Because the whole situation is uncomfortable.
Then have something with the situation.
Then
make us
again,
uncomfortable.
why are you playing that when you have this repertoire of him talking about how to avoid being raped?
To put it simple, you need to give boomers little steps.
We're 2 hours in.
Yeah. Hey, Luna.
No, we're 15 minutes into another episode.
We are 2 hours and 15 minutes in. If you've skipped straight to part 3, then that's your own fault.
Don't be doing that.
I know everyone says,
Oh,
oh, you want them to
yeah.
talk about everything, but they don't need to talk about everything. They need
Oh.
to talk about stuff that
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
was done wrong. Not stuff that Greg can point at and go, that was a skit that was normal at the time. Because by doing that, you've handed Onision his own defense weapon. You've literally just nullified your documentary by giving the target, by giving the person this is supposed to expose, something that he can point at and go, they're vilifying me for a joke. It's just, at this point, a fact. Onision is not going to see jail time.
And if he does?
All of us will be thrilled. we will be beyond thrilled. But the fact of the matter is that as of right now, as of every victim coming forward and sharing everything that they have, there is nothing that's going to put him in jail. There was something that could have put Kai in jail, and Chris Hansen destroyed it. The only thing we have now is if Onision were to do something going forwards. Which, before this documentary even came out, his ability to do that had been severely kicked in the teeth. He was already dying on YouTube. He was already irrelevant. His highest relevancy was on OnlyFans, where a child audience couldn't follow him.
It became a joke.
I mean, of course it's a joke. You remember that clip of like a 3D model of him shouting at Chris Hansen? That was what originally his OnlyFans was that thing naked.
Ew.
Yeah! So yeah, that's why I'm saying none of this matters in a courtroom. It matters in the court of public opinion. And they keep handing Onision evidence. And
they keep making it so badly.
All they needed to do there, to set the tone they were going for, was play a clip that would unsettle you, would make your skin crawl. And they needed it to be about a certain chunk of time, because they need to pad for time still. Again,
so slightly shorter than the others.
Again, there are clips and clips of him telling victims who want to self-harm that they deserve to want to die. And genuinely, this is his Onision Speaks channel. This isn't his self-purported skit channel. There are clips and clips of him accusing women who have been raped of deserving to be raped because they didn't report it, so it's their fault. And they're worse than the rapist.
Do they know about that video?
Yeah, they do, because Repzion talked about those videos in his interview with Chris Hansen. Chris should know about these videos by now. He should know.
He should. Doesn't mean he does. If more people would have done it, maybe they could have made it.
If
So
Repzion had already given the information to Chris Hansen, it's still even on them to not use that information.
Fair.
If their preferred person to work with had the information, and they went,
Onision
they claimed they weren't going to use any of this whatsoever, but here it is.
When I started tweeting them.
That's been one of the things when Chris is called out on this online now that it's out. People are like, so what about the stories that you promised you weren't going to tell of the victims who didn't agree to be on it? And his response is, whose face or name was in the video?
you know, that's awful dehumanizing, Chris. Disconnecting, even.
All I can think is, hang on, so if I just blur out your face and your
And
name
say an internet reporter.
and re-upload all of your videos verbatim, I
That's
don't know what
fine.
you're talking about. You don't own those.
Whose face or name appeared in there?
Yeah, exactly. Your face or name doesn't appear anywhere in that. That's all that matters, I guess.
Chris Hansen here on the YouTube channel Hansen vs. Predators, and have us.
Okay, to give Chris some credit, it did gain momentum. But it gained momentum in the same sense that if a car is in neutral rolling down a hill and another car rams it from behind, it gains momentum. It already had a shit ton of momentum. We just boosted that momentum.
No, I'm still irritated by how they use YouTube on this.
No, that's how it looks.
No, not this. Them slowly clicking on each thing to let you read how to get to this site on YouTube as part of their documentary.
Boomers.
Yeah.
I also find it funny that even the producers of this aren't subscribed to Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen, for the next few weeks, manages to post interviews with these girls. Some reaching
Manages?
millions of views.
We are intensifying our investigation.
Well, yeah, they couldn't manage to get the girls on the show, so clearly they have a very tight schedule. So it's a miracle they managed to talk to Chris Hansen. Stroke of pure luck.
He felt up my ass when he was putting shaving cream on me.
So you were with both Greg Jackson and
And see, this is why he did well,
in a
because these are
triangle, essentially.
actual victims telling their story.
My
This is the
friends
powerful stuff that they
coming
needed the
out
whole
with
time.
Her story. And we were watching a movie again one night. I look over and I see Greg and Kai like making out, which they had done in the past, like made out with me on the bed, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I looked back, and they were like actively having sex. And then
How old were
Greg
you?
kind of pulled me in and told me to start doing stuff with them. To be honest, I feel like Kai and I were both pressured into it the first time.
Oh, so she's saying when she turned 18. That's particularly interesting because Greg's more recent tweets have suggested that she pinned him down and rode him like a cowgirl. Like literally forced him to act like a horse.
Ew.
I'm just sitting here going, I never really thought that the porn writers had a point when they pretended you could quietly do that with someone else in the room not noticing. But apparently the TV does make it so you will not hear that for at least a little bit until you go, oh, what's going on back there? What? I have to think about it in terms of them.
But you want to know
remember
the
what he
best
looks
part about Greg's version of the story?
What?
He claims to be traumatized by this.
Wait. He said a 19-year-old forced yourself onto you?
18, yes.
What? How?
That's his argument because he can't deny that they had sex when she was barely 18. She claims, or not she, Greg claims that she raped them.
Two adults,
Yes.
18-year-old.
Which is kind of funny because in the back of my head I have this image of her just hulking out and growing 3 times her size and pinning Kai down with one hand while she forces her hand up Onision's butt to make him get hard.
What the fuck?
I find that image cathartic for one, but very, very funny.
What?
Steve, we need to talk about your fetishes.
How is that cathartic?
Because it involves a lot of Greg
Bonk.
screaming.
Okay, fair.
She can prove that he forced her to sign an NDA. But he claims that she raped them via coercion of threatening to tell everyone they'd done it anyway. But they were the ones that made her sign an NDA that they had pre-prepared.
So is this NDA as binding as that divorce contract?
100% yes.
Alright. Is it also written in crayon?
Oh, this
I
is
think
where
that Onision is a
Hansen's
new kind
headquarters
of
are.
predator. He is given a lot of power and a lot of attention online, and he uses that to select his
What is
victims.
this?
My name is Maggie. Maybe I'm an associate attorney at Marshall.
Is it Maggie or isn't it Maggie? Sorry, I couldn't resist that one.
If we just, title thing, name, former child, whatever other job title you want to give them.
Meg.
This would have been clear. My name's Maggie. Navy, I'm a secret agent. I'm working with, I shouldn't have told you that. I don't remember. I'm blonde. Give
Here's
me a
the
break.
thing, though. Onision is a new type of predator. Yes, no one else has selected their victims this way and groomed them at this age in this way by using the power that they held over them in a video production. Hello, Dan Schneider. What are you doing in the room?
Maybe they're talking about new in the sense of YouTube predators?
But it's literally not.
It's a transliteration, but I suppose it is technically the first YouTuber they've had to deal with these with.
Shane Dawson.
And it's also, he's not rich. Normally the
Lion
pedophiles
Maker.
that are grooming are rich.
Lion Maker.
I don't know any of these names.
Yeah.
Red Kiwis.
I don't know this name either. You can keep saying them. I don't know any of them.
All 3 of them got accused of stuff beforehand. Most of Shane Dawson's stuff came out after Onision stuff, but Lion Maker went to jail before Chris Hansen ever came on the scene. And came back, and it's been a whole major thing. So again, it's not a new type of predator.
And it is also really dangerous.
Guys, boom mic. Foot higher. It still works there. It's clearly on a lever system.
What's wrong with the boom mic being in
Well,
there?
we like doing our shots to let you know they're being interviewed. This isn't just their normal office.
It's such an amateur thing.
What if they wanted it there on purpose, though?
Why would you want it there on purpose? To scream, I'm an amateur that's been doing this for a day, and we hired whatever kid off of the street that didn't know how to set up a camera shot for an interview?
He's allowed to be a predator in plain sight because he does it in a way that makes these kids feel like they're the problem.
He would.
That's not why he's allowed to do it in plain sight. He's allowed to do it in plain sight because he's skirting the edge of the law, which does raise the question, should the law be adjusted? But
and as far as the making them feel like they're in the wrong, this is common for pedophilia, from what I remember from all the things warning us about it when we were kids.
Yeah.
I spent a
Hi
lot of
again.
years thinking,
I didn't miss you.
oh, that was just a bad relationship.
Oh, there we go. Feet
I
pics for
thought
the weird
I
ass.
was the problem. Now, 27 years.
Who took this?
And
Is it the guy that is with his camera?
I thought you were joking, but then they just keep holding on her bare feet, and I'm like, guys, you know someone's gonna, like, make a gif of this and fap to it, right? Guys, stop.
Her toes were uncomfortably red. Those shoes were too tight. You need to wear better shoes.
I know.
Wear flats to an interview, Shiloh. We can't see your feet.
What was the purpose of that shot other than to be weird and creepy? To her.
To show that the hotel they put her up in had an outdoor pool. We didn't skimp on cost.
Want me to give you exact reason?
Sure.
To show her feeling a bit more relaxed at that moment. Because she's out of it, she's
Could
talking
we have
about
focused on her, not her feet?
Man, guys, I'm really relaxed. Check him out.
No, just a second. We need to bring the camera over. Focus on the toes.
it. Don't! She's doing it into a pool. The pools are relaxing.
The first half of it was relaxing, but then we were just like, yeah, let me get a look at them toes. Why?
The first half I was fine with.
The first half was like, oh yeah, she's chilling by a pool. She's
in
fully,
the same attire as after the interview. This is clearly intended to be after the interview, her winding down.
Yeah.
I get it.
But the
And
toes.
then the toes.
It was something straight out of a fetish movie.
And then they stayed there.
I could agree they stayed there for too long, but usually...
Way too long.
You usually show the feet for some reason in relaxation, because usually you relax through your feet, apparently.
Okay, once again, let me do the editor's job for him. Start in the water with the ripples of the water. Pull up across the feet. As you cross the feet and get to the leg, begin to pan out and reveal that it's Shiloh relaxing by the pool. Bam! Your shot took exactly as long and is twice as effective.
And if you are one of those people, please come to one of us. We are here to support you.
You know, if there are criminal charges.
Up until you've decided you don't want to speak, then we'll tell your story for you.
That I
And she was one of the ones that didn't
can't
get...
brought against
That's
them,
fair,
then
that's fair. She did,
I will
she
do
did.
that.
That wasn't a dig on
Because
her.
they blurred her out.
and created a hashtag called Deplatform Predators.
Yeah, tell us what you did with that hashtag, why don't you, Shiloh?
Onision had this website where his fans could submit a picture of themselves, and the topic said, guess my age and you might be featured in an Onision video.
Once again, demonstrate how complicated age of consent is. Legal versus not legal. It's a confusing system. And this girl looks like she's 25, maybe? But uh-oh, she's 17. Because you mistook a girl's age, you're likely to get raped in prison. Fun.
His emphasis on dating them or talking about their age was something that was definitely not normal.
So someone started a topic at Onision.
Notice, we're on a topic that should have been earlier. This is something I've been saying they needed to talk about in episode 1. And suddenly, we're talking about something that's important. Things seem coherent, and who's the one presenting it? Not Chris. The YouTuber that did all the research.
I warned you guys about Shiloh. Go ahead and search for Shiloh. See all the stories on her and how crazy she is. Some of the most ridiculous people.
That was also part of the problem. Shiloh's actions handed Greg ammunition. Enough ammunition to genuinely take some of the heat off of himself. And she was a known victim.
I mean,
she had all of this information about things that had actually been done to her.
From outside of it, that one did look like him trying to say he did nothing wrong with the relationship.
Yes, I'm not saying in terms of the documentary. I'm saying I keep complaining that the documentary is handing him these outs. And everyone keeps responding, but the overall message is that he's a creep, but the overall message is that he's horrible. Yes, but you're handing him ammunition. And Greg is going to take every piece of ammunition that you hand him, and he's going to turn a little piece of thread as long as he can by spinning it out. He's good at that. That's why they needed to be more careful about this. That's why I keep complaining about it. Because, yeah, what Shiloh did was fucked up, but the amount of distance he got out of it should never have been able to happen.
That's because, as we all pointed out, he's manipulative and disgusting.
Exactly.
And that's enough evidence to make any slime he pulls out of his mouth pointless.
It's not pointless, though, because he gets somewhere with it. Because there are still children that believe him. And that's always going to be the case, no matter how many of these girls speak up. And he's able to string enough of this along that because they handled this information poorly enough to give him ammunition, like I've been complaining about for all three of these parts, he's going to be able to run with that and do something with it. And that's what is so upsetting to me.
It's just evidence he will do something with it. Shiloh got back with him. No one knew better than her at the time how much of an issue he was. And yet, he was still able to get her back, even if briefly.
Because he's that manipulative.
That's why giving him ammunition is an issue.
Fair.
Is regardless of what you know, he can make it so you want to trust him.
Maybe not want to trust him, but he's skilled enough to sow that seed of doubt in your mind, if only for a second, and that's all that he needs in the right hands.
The thing is, me, you, and Jay, we're not people who will fall for it.
We're not the target. The boomers aren't the target.
Well, let's even say that the boomers are the target. Some of the parents...
they're the target for this.
I'm just saying, some of the parents that watch this and get worried about this, say one of their kids or grandkids watches this guy, still likes him. Grandma might start looking it up and go, oh no, he seems pretty trustworthy. This documentary was made by people that hate him and had money to do so.
Ew.
If they find his side of the story using any of the ammunition, then that old lady starts sharing it around her old lady friends, and suddenly COVID is fake. It was caused by someone who hated Onision.
You're right. I don't like that.
That's why I've been complaining about them handing him ammo. It's not because, oh yeah, the overall message of the documentary is still that he's a creep and that he's horrible. Because it is! But when you're dealing with someone like Greg, the overall message doesn't matter. It's like saying, I don't care if I gave the school shooter some bullets. I've got a bulletproof vest. Yeah, but the kindergarten class doesn't. It's less that you're handing the kid a bulletproof vest and more that you're handing the teacher a lock for the door.
And the teacher should have that lock for the door because it's the parent's job to...
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying it's a good thing that it's reaching a larger audience.
An audience that wouldn't have seen any of this so far.
But the gunman didn't have any bullets when he entered the school. And you gave him bullets by mishandling it.
He probably had a few, but...
Yeah.
But not many.
Yeah.
He was running out of bullets. He was standing outside the school just going, pa, 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 in the air to look cool. It was basically done. And you handed him more ammunition because you mishandled it so badly.
Don't look at others. Look in the mirror.
There is so much misinformation that is
Yeah.
out against him.
He did not break the law, and if he did, he would be facing legal consequences.
I want all the comments to be #recoveronision on screen right now.
We were being bombarded by...
Okay, so that's problem number 1 of part 3. Is they play those clips. The one of Keem talking on Twitter, the one of Augie talking about the entire situation with Chris Hansen, and then an Onision supporter.
Oh, all three of those weren't Onision supporters?
No! That's exactly what they were trying to tell you, right?
Was that there were still people that supported him, and here's 3 examples.
So, no. Only the third one was an Onision supporter. The full context of Keemstars was that I've interviewed him. Y'all keep saying he's breaking the law. There's no evidence he broke the law. Don't get me wrong, he's a piece of shit. But what are you all talking about? You're insane. Augie's was, guys, he's a piece of shit, but we need to rethink how we're going about deplatforming him. He hasn't actually broken any laws. He's been disgustingly creepy about that. He's been saying the exact same stuff we've been saying this entire thing. And when he's saying he hasn't broken any laws, otherwise he'd be in jail, he's not presenting that as a good thing. He's saying that's a problem. You want to know why the two of them were presented like that? Because they're both anti-Chris Hansen. So yeah, someone who doesn't know anything about it has come away believing that those YouTubers are pro-Onision, when that is literally and categorically not the case.
It's coming up against all these other voices saying it's your own
There it
fault.
is. We are looking at libel right now. You see this shit on the bottom where it says actual tweet?
Yeah?
This is not the tweet. They have taken Nicholas DeOrio's larger tweet and chopped out all of the context from it.
Well, you see, the issue is this is at least part of it, so therefore it is not libel. This is something he said regardless of context.
Yep.
Except they phrase it as actual tweet. This is not his actual tweet.
It's like putting something in quotes. It is not necessary to have the entire thing.
It is fucking disgusting.
This has always been a thing with reporting.
Yeah.
Because it is something that got said, you may take out the context and use that quote how you wish. I don't like it either, but that's allowable.
Here's the problem. That's literally exactly as scummy as everything Onision's doing.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. You're not breaking the law. You're not doing anything wrong. Neither's Onision. You're exactly as disgusting as him right here.
I wanted to talk about the investigation. I can't believe the lack of professionalism. This isn't a reality show. This is real life. My
Yes.
point is that
That's kind of what's supposed to happen, Greg.
He is kind of a shitty human being when it comes
Oh,
to his
Lord.
Oh, social repose.
You actually included a video of social repose in that getup.
Oh, social repose. Ew.
No, is he actually that white? Or...
creating awareness.
No, Mike is
to
right there
prevent
next to his
other
head, too.
girls, young women from becoming victims. And that's my goal here. Having Chris Hansen involved.
I guess it has been over
There's
their
a
head.
regular Mike in the same
I
place.
guess it has been over their head the whole time. Maybe
But
it was just
every
something
other
about
time-
the white room.
I think it's every other time there has been other equipment at least, and it was the only
That's
dark
why I
colored thing in the
pointed it
room.
out.
Yeah.
That's why I pointed out, because I've seen it every time.
It stands out less when it's in a dark room and when there's other equipment there.
So that's why I was like, I've seen it multiple times. Why haven't you only noticed it now?
It doesn't make it less amateur. Has it really only been a year ago?
Yeah.
Wow, this investigation died off faster than I thought.
Chris Hansen is doing amazing work. Let's get that right off the bat.
The guy's a legend. He's the king of catching these kind of people. You know what kind I'm talking about.
At first, everybody...
Hey, that's fairly disingenuous. It really is convenient playing those clips. Because I know what kind of things Deaf Noodles was saying about Chris Hansen 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago. And it wasn't Chris Hansen's great. It wasn't even remotely in the same ballpark. No one says that about you anymore, Chris. You have to pick old clips to get that kind of statement.
Television has the potential to take this to a wider audience and to increase the potential that we will see justice here.
And
You're right. So why'd you put this on a streaming platform that only plays in the United States? Why'd you put it somewhere people have to pay to see it? It's sure sounds like we're limiting that expansive audience.
I think along the way, there was resentment because I came in as a non-YouTuber.
No, there was resentment because you're not competent at your job, you daft motherfucker. There was resentment because you sold the victims on an actual lie, because you talked hot shit about how you had special FBI connections, about how you could guarantee that Greg was going to go to jail, about how if they sent the evidence to you that you would make sure it got to the proper channels. You got backlash because you're not anything other than an interviewer. You're not a reporter, you're an interviewer, and that's all you've ever been, Chris Hansen. YouTube gave you a chance. It's not that you didn't come in with welcoming arms. It's that you promised a lot. And people believed in you, the same as they believed in you with your Kickstarter that you failed everyone on. And you let them down again, but this time it wasn't a little tiny TCAP community that you let down and showed your ass to. It was all of YouTube. Everybody got to see it.
Everybody thought that it was just for financial gain, and he essentially does exploit victims, in my opinion.
Well, Edwin, perhaps you should take a look in the mirror, having tried to use victims in your own way with the drama channel to drive up clicks and views. I never got into the YouTube.
When I heard Chris Hansen say that, I had to pause. I was disgusted. I don't know how to explain it to Chris Hansen that him and I are not the same. So that was the ultimate "no you" from Chris Hansen. You know, and it's interesting because he insulted me by trying to say that I do what he does. Weird. I mean, damn, what a childish fucking answer. You see, Chris, the people that I've hosted on my platform, I've been very respectful to, and in turn, they've given me respect back. You can't compare yourself to me because you can't say the same. Riddle me this, Mr. Hansen. How many people that have been on your show have asked you to take down their interviews and you refuse to? You know what? That you can maybe count on one hand. Maybe it's been less than 5. However, how many people that have been on your show have gone on to say terrible things about you after they've been on your show? Oof, that's definitely beyond 2 hands. Ooh, I have another one. How many people have you had on your show that you later went on to block on Twitter? Once again, Chris Hansen, we are not the same. I have never promised anybody that I've worked closely with for a video on, or anybody that I've hosted on my platform for an interview, anything that I could not deliver. That's where you fail. Whereas you, on the other hand, you promised the girls mental health aid, you hired a racist that you refused to get rid of because you couldn't replace him, and you just had to keep your weekly show going, and you repeatedly mentioned connections to the FBI that you obviously didn't have and just never came through with, and of course you keep continuing to repeat justice, this justice that you repeat it so much it's almost like a fairy tale story now.
And the prosecutor will be the one that decides whether or not charges are filed. What type of charges, if any charges are filed at all, that will be the prosecutor's decision.
Good response.
To be victims of either sexual exploitation or labor trafficking. And whether or not he violated any particular statute, it's going to be on an individual basis.
I see how the argument could be made.
Labor trafficking.
The argument, I suppose, would be they were forced into participating in his videos without compensation.
They sort of really didn't get compensation, if I remember correctly.
They didn't get compensation, but nobody forced them to participate in the video. I can see a coercion argument, but I feel like any lawyer worth the amount you'd be paying for a lawyer would get you out of that.
If we have someone who's being bullied at school and the teachers fail to act, they can be held accountable. But if someone is being bullied online and YouTube does nothing about it, YouTube can still profit off of that. When
Yes, because in a school, they are charged with the responsibility of caring for those children. YouTube is not charged with the responsibility of caring for children because you must be 13 or over. YouTube is an adult space, whether YouTube likes it or not, whether people like it or not. There's a YouTube Kids platform. We have comments turned off so you can't bully there. But YouTube is an adult space. And newsflash, we don't punish people for bullying adults. It would be really nice if we did. The closest thing we have is harassment rules.
The issue is then a lot of news channels wouldn't have a job anymore.
Exactly there. Tabloid reporters wouldn't have a job anymore. News channels in general wouldn't have a job anymore. Man, how many people bullied President Trump? And how many people before him bullied President Obama? Man, that sure would suck if we cracked down on all those bullies. You can't do that in an adult space, and to suggest otherwise is asinine.
Although I suppose we should be... It is a bit weird saying, yeah, it's 13 and over, that's an adult space. It's at least a more mature space.
The problem is that when you have a space that includes everyone all the way up to end of their life, whether that be 150.
I know, it's just the 14
Should we
to 15.
Perhaps be raising the age at which YouTube allows children on? Maybe. But it's not YouTube's requirement to end bullying. It's like if I own a playground and kids are getting bullied on my playground, but I don't physically work at my playground. It's not my job to stop bullying. It's not a theme park's job.
It's the parents' job to control their children.
Yes. It's not a theme park's job to stop bullying that occurs within their theme park. And if the bullying's too bad, then yeah, the theme park employees might step in and be like, yo, break it up. Go somewhere we can't see you and do that shit. But it's not a theme park's responsibility. It's a school's responsibility because they are charged with the care of children. That's why if you have an 18-year-old who's still in high school, if the 23-year-old that runs the water slide at your local water park has sex with her, he's just a fucking creep, but he's not going to jail. He's Onision. If the 23-year-old teacher's aide at the high school has sex with her, he goes to jail forever. Because there are different requirements for the two places.
And there's dynamics involved as well.
Yes.
Teachers have more power over the students, so they're technically taking advantage of that power.
Exactly.
Social media in general monetizes emotional pain. It forces everyone involved to put their deepest, darkest, most traumatic experiences in the public eye.
Magic Carp sure got read it.
As long as people are watching, YouTube wins. The casino wins every time you put a nickel in the slot machine.
Well, reminder, he's Newsweek.
You?
He's traditional media as well.
Traditional media's disgusting.
Also, yes, YouTube works like that. Man, let me turn on the evening news.
Oh, that's other people's emotional trauma.
Intentionally keep their terms of service vague so that they can enforce it in any ways that they deem fit.
That's how the UN does things too.
These platforms aren't immune from liability for anything that a third-party viewer creates or does on their platform. If they have no liability, then they have no reason to regulate. I think the issue with this is that if we wait for the public to be outraged, we are always going to be a step behind the problem.
So she's saying that creators should be held liable for things that are done on it. So that an outlet should be liable for things that that third parties present through it.
Yes.
So if an ad turns out to be false, a TV station that runs it should also be held liable for some of the money?
I'm happy to tell you exactly what I said over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's fair. How much did you pay Chris Hansen?
The people who monitor his videos suggest that Kai has moved their stuff out of there.
Kai has had no online presence. Kai basically disappeared from the internet.
Are they still refusing? The only person that I've heard use Kai's proper pronoun once they were referring to him as Kai, was the sheriff. I just noticed that.
Honestly, yeah, I hadn't.
Same.
I noticed it because Chris Hansen called Kai a them.
We're being very meticulous and careful because we have one chance. You have one chance to put this type of investigation together and get it to the prosecutor.
You're laughing at me!
And we threw it out by having Chris Hansen.
I believe there is nothing this man will not do to make money or to preserve his position in the social media hierarchy. I believe there is nothing this man will not do to make money or to preserve his position in the social media hierarchy. It is a world where scandal can equal profit, where drama drives clicks, subscriptions, viewers, and ad revenue.
This
And
is not new to YouTube.
self-perpetuating.
Or the world.
At the end of the day,
This coming from the person who built TCAP. A show that, while good, and with good intentions, no one can watch TCAP. Maybe season 1 you can watch and be like, oh, they were more worried about defending kids. But everything after season 1 and maybe season 2, the show was about, look at these weird fucks. Which, to be fair, they're weird, creepy fucks.
Weird
They
fucks.
deserve it. But your whole show that is the only reason you're famous was built on drama.
Any
Get it?
successful
And yeah, we didn't
show
call it clicks back
was
then.
built on drama.
Yeah, we didn't call it clicks back then. We called it engagement.
Or viewers.
Yeah, concurrent viewers. You know, they'd hook the little box up to your television and they'd see how many people were watching for the ratings trap. It's the same exact thing, except now we don't need a specific time of year for the ratings trap. We don't need to hook boxes up to our television to tell us how many people are engaged. It's exactly the same as what you built your career on. The difference is, it's in a community
that you're not a
that
part
was
of.
sick of your bullshit.
the only way to really make, Onision lose is to let him die out in obscurity.
The problem is that was already happening before you did this documentary.
Which is kind of the opposite of what we're doing here.
Oh, at least you acknowledge it.
You know what? I'm gonna end this on one of my favorite quotes ever. You either die a fucking hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the cunt-ass villain.
What?
Are we letting that end the documentary?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Why are we letting Greg say the last thing in the documentary?
I guess that's because we wanted to go out on
him thinking he's right?
And that's it. Your thoughts overall?
My chair-like view, as he calls it, can't defend this. I can try my very best to look at this from a view of, what's the word? Naivety of the situation, trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. But it sort of, throughout the whole thing, ruined it. Like, during the beginning I could be like, hey, maybe they're just being a bit of idiots. But, you know, taking it back to my head multiple times for doing that, it tends to make me lose my chair-like demeanor.
Jay?
I don't really feel like I know much more about this than if someone said, hey, there's this guy Greg, he's a creep. His YouTube channel is... I don't get why they need 3 hours to say any of what they said, really. The main things they said are grooming is an issue, the laws haven't caught up, the media is rather unregulated, and Onion San is a creep. Here are 2 people that say why he's a creep that know. There are a bunch of other people that we couldn't get to work with us. Chris Hansen's here. Did we mention Chris Hansen's here? Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I think this could have been a much tighter, better produced documentary if it had been one documentary that was 58 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes. Or not an hour and 20 minutes.
No, I could see an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour to an hour and a half. Cut half of all of your content out. Cut it down to actually relevant clips, to actually relevant stuff. All of your shit that's literally just YouTube bad because they can't do this. We're doing that. But they're not allowed to because YouTubers are evil. And they're just after money. We're not after money. We're doing the exact same thing, but we're not after money. Cut all of that out. Episode 3 was literally just them trying to complain about YouTube as traditional media. I'm sorry, if I wanted to listen to traditional media complain about YouTube, I wouldn't watch a true crime documentary that's supposed to tell me about Onision. You are doing everything that it talks about. The third episode, if it had stuck to actually functional things, would have been 15 minutes long. Overall, I'm sure you spread the word to people who didn't know before. And that's good. Now they're going to come join the community, and they're going to find out what a steaming fucking wreck this documentary is. It puts more tension on Onision than he's had in months.
It is nice they recognize that.
But just because I recognize that I'm stabbing you doesn't make it not a problem.
Oops, I'm stabbing you. As I still stab you.
Yeah, I probably should stop that, but, well, we already paid Chris Hansen.
And we're already on the selling points for this site.
You gave him more attention than he's had.
And you gave him outs from most of the things you said about him.
Yeah. Yes, the overall message is that he's a problem. But you handed him so much ammunition to defend himself with to the people who either don't know any better and go looking to try to learn more, that this documentary has exposed them to him, or to the people who were already potentially on his side and were the people at risk. It's not the worst documentary I've seen. But especially, if you knew nothing about any of the background stuff, then it probably wouldn't be too bad of a documentary. But here's the thing. That's what a bad documentary wants. It wants you to know nothing so that it can miseducate you. And that's the most dangerous thing that there is. We are planning on doing more episodes of Documentombstones. I don't know how often we'll be doing them. Our next one, the ferret will not be in because Jay and I recorded it long before this point and never uploaded it. But we'll have to find something else.
Incompetent.
We'll have to find something else bad enough to be worth looking at. If you have any suggestions of something like that, by all means let us know. Farewell.
Bye.